Can faith save us? By itself? No. The reading ends before we get to it, but the very next line after our second reading, St. James says, even the demons believe and tremble. They know God is real, but it doesn't save them. Peter has faith to acknowledge that Jesus is the Messiah, the Christ, but immediately gets called Satan by Jesus. Why? Because he tries to reject the work that Jesus must do, the work of carrying the cross, a work we must share. Faith, in order to save us, must be lived out in works. This is the next lesson in our journey through the letter of St. James. Put another way, to go to heaven requires integrity. Knowing the right thing means nothing if you do not also do the right thing. It is not enough to believe in Jesus and just avoid hurting people. We must be disciples who lived as he lived. Far too many people assume that heaven is owed to us, that the default is going to heaven, and only those people who do something truly terrible get that taken away. Heaven is a gift, but it is also one that must be actively embraced. Jesus even sometimes speaks of it as a reward. So how do we earn this reward, so to speak? How do we accept the gift of faith, the gift of salvation, of faith through works? Faith that is animated by charity, by love. And there are two ways to put it into action. Not surprisingly, they line up with the twofold greatest commandment: love of God and love of neighbor. More specifically, the readings today point us towards carrying the cross, and because St. James loves to talk about it, caring for the poor. St. James' example is to compare faith without works to wishing someone well while leaving them hungry and naked. The power of this comparison is that charity is not just a nice thing to do. It is not extra. It is literally what stands between us and going to hell. And the reason that people often feel good helping others is because it's in those moments that we're doing what we're made to do. This world, our lives, exist for the purpose of loving others. So when we do something out of love, we can sometimes feel that connection, that resonance with the purpose of our existence. This is why the Catholic Church is the largest charity organization in the world, why we feed, clothe, house, and treat more people than any other single organization. It's also why we have a long history of tough teachings about charity and care for the poor. For example, St. Ambrose, an ancient teacher, tells us that when you give to someone in need, you are not making a gift of your possessions to the poor person. You are handing over to him what is his. For what has been given in common for the use of all, you have arrogated to yourself. The world is given to all, and not only to the rich. Yes, private property is a right, but it is a limited right. It exists for the sake of human dignity, and where there is greater need, that right ceases to exist. God gives us possessions so that we have the chance to freely use them for the good of others, not because he owes us. True charity does not start with giving away your extra. Giving away the extra is justice. It's what we ought to do at a bare minimum. True charity, the love that goes above and beyond, the love that shows genuine faith, starts when we sacrifice to do so, when we give in a way that hurts. This is why the other half of the greatest commandment is so important, the love of God, specifically seen in the cross, the great symbol of love, of faith in action. Peter was rebuked for missing this. While there are many good things in this world, things we should be grateful for, those good things are not the goal of life. Love is the goal. And in a fallen world, love often looks like suffering. Jesus tells us outright, whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. And remember that when he said this, the cross was not a nice gold necklace that some people wear. It was a sign of horrible torture and death. It would be like telling people to put their neck in a noose or to sit on an electric chair. And honestly, I don't really enjoy preaching this way because it challenges me too. I am often quite comfortable and well off. It's too easy for me to wake up in the morning and look forward to whatever entertainment or food or excitement there might be that day, instead of waking up focusing on self-denial, the cross, the acts of charity and service that I might enjoy or might not, yet still want to do, because that's what that's what life is for. Love. Don't get me wrong. Recreation and rest and food are good and necessary things. We should enjoy them with gratitude, but they should not be the reason for every day. They should not be the goal of life. Even these good things are really there to restore ourselves so that we are better able to serve and sacrifice. It's not wrong to be successful in business, to make good money. But why do we make the money? For bragging rights, for the sake of the latest, greatest toy or entertainment, or to be better able to serve family, friends, and especially the poor. There are many saints in our history who were rich. There are kings and queens, entrepreneurs and investors, people who have inherited great wealth. But in every single case, those saints were known for how freely they gave their wealth away, how simply they lived, even though they had the option for more luxury. Resist the temptation to hear what I'm saying and start applying it to other people whose hearts you don't know. Hear this and challenge yourselves. And it is hard because we desire happiness. And so many good things in this world seem to offer us that happiness that we were ultimately made to enjoy. But all this talk of the cross and giving everything away is not a rejection of that. It is not masochism. It is the way to authentic happiness and joy. In a fallen world, it takes faith to see that going through the cross, going through voluntary poverty, is the only way to get to resurrection and to genuine eternal wealth. Even in the natural world, we see this paradox that we have to sacrifice in order to flourish, that we choose to suffer now, like dieting and exercise, if we want to avoid worse suffering later, like failing health. As Jesus puts it, whoever wishes to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake and the sake of the gospel will save it. Have faith that Jesus Christ, who did it first, will lead us through the cross to the resurrection. And then put that faith into action. Make it real and alive by choosing now to help those in need, especially when it hurts to do so. Lose your life in that kind of love, and you will be saved.